I'll go down with the ship. I don't think the ship's going down.
That's what the captain does, Rich.
I don't understand.
I'm Billy Zane.
Where the Tua question marks come from. I don't get it. I know he struggled last year, and I know he was thrown in by the coach, and then he struggled. And I know that the guy that they did not take in Miami went to Los Angeles and the next pick, and then when he was thrown into the deep end of the pool by an errant needle into the starter of the Chargers, he was thrown into the deep end of the pool against the defending Super Bowl champs and eventual repeat champs of the conference. Mm-hmm. He was thrown into that deep end of the pool and then had one of the greatest rookie seasons of all time. I understand that does not at all bode well for somebody who was so supremely talented at the previous level that the team that drafted him fell in love with him the minute he started playing college football. But where does it come from that he's no longer useful in Miami? Maybe it's just I'm just stunned that when Tua looked off the safety and won a national championship game despite not playing much of the season, coming in at halftime and looking the way that he did and then performing the way that he did and then getting his hip destroyed and coming back from that the way that he did, and the Dolphins eventually drafting him anyway the way that they did, and then him not getting the start to begin the season, making sense, I guess, since his hip had to be put back together. The way that he's come back from all of that the way that he did, and the way that he comports himself the way that he does, and the way that he does appear to be much better now, I get it, in the preseason than the way that he is. With all of that, his team decides to reach out to the Houston Texans just to see what it's going to cost to get Deshaun Watson. Maybe they can get him on the cheap and deal with all of the baggage that he has that compared to the baggage up the road here at LAX is kind of on par. I'll cape for him. And I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't get why there's so many out there who thinks he's less than. I know I'm not a tape head. I'm not all 22. But I put it all together, and I see a guy that's as popular as anybody else. Who would you want to have as the face of your franchise? And we're going to throw him out of the mix just a year in? Again, I'm not in the locker room. I'm not in the film room. Are the Dolphins seeing something? And they could sit here and say as much as they want. As much as they want that Tua's their guy. I would have not had a problem for the Dolphins to jump all over Deshaun Watson the minute he says, I'm not playing for the Texans anymore. And the minute before we heard everything else that was going on with him that shocked me and everyone else that figured they knew the guy. And again, this may all be just a horrible, horrible case of him being wrongfully accused. And we'll figure that one out down the road. That would be another shocker based on how long this has lasted and how many people have said something. Wouldn't have a problem with the Dolphins saying, yeah, Tua, we loved you. We drafted you very high. But, I mean, this is Deshaun Watson. We have a chance to get him. And you look at the salary that he's making compared to what now Josh Allen's making and what Lamar's about to make and what Baker's about to make and what everybody else who's drafted in the top 5 eventually is going to make. What Tua would make if he goes on such an incredible run. But we're really going to after just, how many starts do you have last year? 8? 7?
Stand by.
You might have had more than that. 9, 10? Even it doesn't matter what the number is going to be spat back at me by you, Brockman, within seconds. It doesn't,
Nine starts.
9 starts. We're going to just figure out that's that.
1,800 yards, 11 touchdowns.
And popularity, in my mind, matters when you're down there in South Florida.
He's very popular.
And
very popular.
I mean, the number of people that I know, Dolphin fans, were like, we don't understand it. How many times have the Dolphins thrown somebody out there who the fans, support with an empty seat? Like I said, the Dolphins are going to play a quick game. That's the way it looks to me. Jalen Waddle just got drafted. Tua knows him. Will Fuller got acquired. The idea is because they want Deshaun to feel at home. Devontae Parker, Preston Williams, Jakeem Grant, and Albert Wilson, when he comes back, will be really fast. That's like a track meet. Tua just knows where the ball's going to go. Neck up, he gets that thing down, and he gets the ball out, and he is going to be somebody who can put it in there if he is accurate and gets the ball out. And neck up knows where to put it because he knows exactly where the matchup problem is going to be because everybody out there runs 4 flat. There's going to be some safety, some linebacker exposed, and if he can figure out who that guy is pre-snap and get it to the guy who hopefully will catch it, Gesicki, Gaskins, and Malcolm Brown. I mean, that is just a possibility to really be dynamic. People just don't believe in it because you just had a fantasy draft. How many of these guys, other than Waddle, were drafted in the top 3, 4, 5 rounds of your fantasy draft? 14-team league. You know, nobody's going to be putting their faith in any of these guys, fantasy-wise, which is the way, and again, that fans think of things. I just don't get the idea of let's see how cheap we can get Deshaun Watson right now and figure it out then. We'll just figure it out later. I don't understand it when you drafted Tua unless they've seen something I don't know, you don't know, that they know. And hearing comments like this, they're like, you don't know. But right now, all I know is he's supremely popular. He's talented. He's come back from a lot. He's exactly the guy you want to put out there as the face of your franchise and in your community. Go for it, Miami, and see how it goes. That's why I picked them to finish second in the division. He's got more under his belt than Mac Jones. Now, professionally.
Would you rather have starting, though?
Right now, I'd take Tua.
You would?
Of course I would.
But why?
Because Tua,
Mac hasn't played a game.
Mac hasn't played it down in the NFL
But what
yet.
has Tua actually shown you?
9 games of experience. You got to that matters. That's why I want Justin Fields to start right now. If Tua didn't start at all last year, you know what we'd be talking about right now? Tua's first year. This is going to be great. But then his next 9 games might look like last year's. His first 9 games this year they should be vastly improved. If he hasn't been able to discern a defense in a way that should be improved because of all the studying and all the on-field practice that he didn't get last year because of a pandemic.
And
Herbert's season last year was remarkable on so many different levels, which is why I love the Chargers this year too, and why Bill's making the right decision with Mac Jones. Let's go.
Yeah.
The faster he gets through the bumps and bruises, the quicker you can get to where you want to be. Even the few games that Burrow had last year, despite having his knee blown out, is going to come and help out this year. If it doesn't for Tua, I'm more than happy to raise my hand and say I was off. But come on. Let's go. I would say LFG with Tua, but I don't think he says the F.
And Rich, everything you know about Tua tells you that this kid is going to put in the work. He's going to do everything necessary.
I would agree with that as well. As you know, I feel that way about him too. But it did kind of surprise me this year when he said last year there was a lot of stuff that he just, couldn't grasp or didn't grasp. He made a comment where it sounded like he wasn't as
not
locked
being
in
able
on
to
that type of front.
Not being able to grasp it and not putting in the work to do it are two different things. And like Chris said earlier, we had a pandemic. We didn't have training camp. He's coming off a major surgery.
He played one game against Arizona against Kyler Murray, and it was just like a sign of like this is what he can do.
Yeah.
He can run, he can throw. Just make your decisions pre-snap and make sure they're right. And have the ability that if it's wrong, okay, I know where this other guy is because he runs 4.2 and he's probably on some guy that can't cover him either. That's the plan, clearly. Waddle, Fuller, Parker, Williams, Grant, Wilson.
Yeah, speed.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Put him in the starters blocks.
I think the Dolphins, we talk about the Giants being shrug emoji. The Dolphins are a big shrug emoji.
I think I have a better sense of who the Dolphins can be, but more than the Giants.
Really?
Yes.
We've seen Daniel Jones play quarterback. We've seen his potential. He just turns it over too much.
Yeah.
We have no idea what Tua can do. None.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.